Hello and welcome, and I'm so excited to start our tapping journey together and to teach you about tapping. And I am so very passionate about this, and I think it's a wonderful tool to have in your toolbox. A little bit about me: my name is Stephanie, and I got my master's in spiritual psychology a few years ago, and then I started to veer my attention more to energy psychology, and that is because I think it is really potent medicine and very awesome tool. It is because, I don't know about you, but I have experienced a lot of talk therapy or wanting to change something in my mind, and I have like I'm going to try to think positive, and I'm going to try to change my thoughts, and I end up ultimately getting discouraged. Or I'll go to a counseling session and I feel good for a little while, but the issue inevitably resurfaces, and it's so very frustrating. And that is because I have found that we aren't changing the chemistry in our brains. When we go to talk therapy, we're kind of talking about the issue at hand, but we're not actually changing the response in our bodies. And so inevitably it kind of resurfaces and revisits us. So that's why I'm so excited about tapping, because I truly think that it helps clear things that we're ready to get rid of. And it works by pairing Western psychology, Western talk therapy, with Eastern acupressure points that elicit a calming response, and it ultimately changes your brain chemistry and changes your amygdala and turns off your fight or flight response. So inevitably, that thing that used to bother you and drive you crazy is now slowly fading away or is completely gone. So I want to give you a little bit of history about tapping and how it got started. And it was created or discovered accidentally by a man named Roger Callahan. And Roger Callahan is a really well-known psychiatrist, very popular practice. And he actually stumbled across tapping by accident. He was working with this woman, Mary, who had a very severe phobia to water. And they would often go down to the pool for some talk therapy by the pool, to do some exposure therapy, and to help her to hopefully overcome this fear. And it never really worked. And so one day, as they were going down to the pool to try it again, Dr. Callahan, knowing a little bit about Eastern medicine and Eastern tradition, said Mary was complaining of nausea, and she was saying, "I feel so very nauseated." And so he said, well, knowing that this is the stomach point, he said, "Why don't you go ahead and tap under your eye and see if that doesn't help?" So as she was walking down to the pool, tapping on her eye, the nausea began to subside, and inevitably her fear actually ended up subsiding. And she was able to come down to the pool, no nausea, no fear, and it inevitably went away. And in tapping, they call these the 1-minute miracles. And sometimes they happen and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to tap on an issue more regularly. But Mary, for whatever reason, experienced a 1-minute miracle, and she no longer had a fear of water, which she had lived with her entire life. So fast forward a little bit. So Roger Callahan paired up with Gary Craig, and they worked together, and Gary Craig discovered that there was a much more streamlined process called EFT that you could do, that you could get the same results doing Roger Callahan's, what he called thought field therapy. So what we're going to work on today is EFT, emotional freedom technique, because it is a faster, more streamlined, easier process. Now that you know a little bit of history, we're going to go ahead and go into a tapping tutorial on how to kind of tap. And so you can look back and refer to this video anytime you feel a little lost. So what you're going to do before you begin to tap at all, you're going to check in with the issue at hand. So it could be physical pain, it could be an issue that you keep dealing with, it could be a childhood trauma, it could be anxiety or panic, it could be anything that you're dealing with. And so I just want you to rate it from 1 to 10. 1 meaning it's barely even noticeable, and 10 meaning it's very severe. So I'm going to do this demonstrate with being on camera, because this can be a little bit uncomfortable. So if I was to rate my discomfort in this moment, it would probably be a 6. I'm a little bit uncomfortable on camera, right? Because it's just a little awkward. And so what we do is we begin by doing a setup phrase. So we're going to tap on the karate chop point here, and we're going to do our setup phrase 3 times. And this is a reminder phrase, so it helps us to remember the issue at hand. So even though I'm really uncomfortable being on camera, I still deeply and completely love and respect myself. And even though this is uncomfortable talking into this little box, hoping that you feel and understand what I'm saying, I still completely love and respect myself. And even though I'm on camera and it's uncomfortable and it feels awkward, I still deeply and completely love and respect myself. And then we're going to go to the first point, which is at the beginning of the eyebrow, right on the eyebrow, being on camera. And so I'm going to keep bringing that issue that's bothering me as I'm eliciting this calming response, tapping along these acupressure points. So being on camera, so embarrassing. So you come to the corner of the eye. And then under the eye, being on camera. Being on camera. And then you come to under the nose, being on camera. And then under the lip, being on camera. How awkward this is. So awkward to be on camera. And then you're going to come to the collarbone point. So if this was a necktie, it's down and over right here on this soft spot. Being on camera. And then you're going to come to under the arm, along the bra strap or align with the nipple, being on camera. And then you're going to go to the top of the head, being on camera. And you're going to keep going through, being on camera. It's so uncomfortable. So awkward to be on camera. So awkward. And you're just tapping in and connecting with that issue at hand. So this is my most immediate issue, so I thought I would use it. Being on camera. Being on camera. Being on camera. And you just keep moving through. And you're going to keep moving through this until you feel a shift. Some major mistakes people make is by not doing it long enough. I'm not going to do it for the whole time that I would hope that you would do it, but you want to roughly do it for about 15 minutes. Really tapping in and connecting with that issue at hand. Being on camera. Being on camera. And then as I kind of finished that really quick round, I would say that it went from a 7 to probably a 4. So if I was to keep going, I would want to keep going until it was at a 1 or even a 0. So that's kind of the tapping 101 quick tutorial. So I hope that you can watch this video before we meet in person. And when we meet in person, we're going to go over things like creating a script for you, places where you might be stuck, making sure that we're using language that your brain recognizes. So we're going to really tailor this process to you so you see the most benefits and start really transforming and changing your life. So I'm really looking forward to joining you, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.